Why am I so burnt out? How do I handle hard conversations? Are my hormones messed up? What do I do if I'm laid off? Why do I feel so alone? How do I spice up my sex life? I'm Jillian, the host of Teach Me How to Adult podcast, and I ask the hard questions that help us know ourselves and each other better. I felt completely unprepared to navigate the messy realities, evolutions, and transitions of being a human in my 20s and 30s. So I created this podcast to interview industry experts and find research-backed methods to improve mental health, relationships, and work. Whether you're single or married, traveling the world, or parenting at home, climbing the corporate ladder, or pursuing your creative calling, there is more than one way to adult, and we cover it all. If you're looking for smart, meaningful conversations that help you live your best life, tune in to Teach Me How to Adult wherever you get your podcasts.
Frequency Podcast Network. Stories that matter, podcasts that resonate.
He's in the building!
Drink the moment. Drink it.
I said empty your mind.
Coquettish and coy. Ow. Ow.
What?
Yeah, there's people that are dying.
The wickedly talented.
More than great. It was historic.
Crack is
Work.
Oh, good for you.
I have to apologize.
One of the hottest.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to an unprecedented hot off the press. Okay, so we had to do an emergency pod. This is an emergency pod. We are recording a little bit early. We're hoping to get this episode out to you earlier in the week. We'll see if that happens. But on July 3rd, 2026, the year of our Lord 2026, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce got married at Madison Square Gardens. Like, this is a thing they did. A thing they really did. The theme was Secret Garden. I'm assuming pun intended. I don't even know at this point. I don't know.
Beyond.
It's beyond. And while details of the ceremony and reception are still emerging, we can confirm some things. Both the bride and groom wore Dior. Adam Sandler was bizarrely their officiant.
Yeah.
Rock legend Stevie Nicks did perform. And a bevy of celebrities were in attendance. We're talking Dakota Johnson, Bradley Cooper, Sabrina Carpenter, noted Canadian trader Tate McRae, Miranda Lambert, Mr. Steven Spielberg, the Haim sisters, Bowen Yang, Reese Witherspoon, Selena Gomez, noted wife hitter Brad Pitt, Ethan Hawke, Laura Dern, Tom Hanks, Chris Rock, Sacha Baron Cohen, Jessica Alba, Ed Sheeran, noted cutie Benson Boone, Camila Cabello, Emma Stone, Hugh Grant, Stephen Colbert, Taylor's former best friend Karlie Kloss, and her MAGA royalty husband Josh Kushner. They were also there, as well as a bunch of American football people whose names I will never know, and I'm not apologizing for that. And so many more people were also in attendance. I don't have time to name all of them. Zoe Kravitz was there too, and she was their sans fiancé. And her fiance is Taylor's ex, Harry Styles. So maybe that was
Reasonable.
intentional.
My prediction was right. She came on her own.
She also wore this outfit that looked like it was sold at Anthropologie in 2012. And all the fashion bloggers were like, I don't know who designed this. But
The thing is, Zoe can wear a garbage bag and look unbelievable.
She did look good. She did look good.
Gorgeous.
She looked good. And you know what? I feel like if you don't want to outshine your friend at her wedding and you're as pretty as Zoe Kravitz, maybe that's the smart move.
But Sarah, can you outshine someone who's getting married at MSG? Is that possible?
I don't know. I mean, you could definitely look classier, I think.
And yeah, you know what? Yeah. And I think a lot of people did.
And I think Karlie Kloss tried her best to outshine her. Did you see
Sure.
that gold outfit?
I did. You know who else looked stunning is Gigi Hadid. Just looked so beautiful. I loved her dress. I cannot believe she's still with Bradley Cooper. I discovered that upon seeing all of the guests roll in. My God. A lot was revealed on this day.
A lot happened. So, yes, Zoe was there. Her friend Zoe was there. They're still friends. That friendship is intact. So Lena Dunham was there too. She actually gave a speech. We'll return to that later. Lena Dunham's dirtbag ex, Jack Antonoff, was there too. He was there with his sister and not his wife. So that was very interesting. So Jack Antonoff is one of Taylor's frequent collaborators. That probably explains why you can't leave him off the guest list, even if he was horrible to Lena Dunham. But he's not one of her better collaborators. Has everyone heard the new Toy Story 5 song? It's terrible.
I hate it. I don't like it. And I know you all know I'm a Swift hater, but listen, there is some music of hers that I like, and I'm a big, big Toy Story girl, and I was keen to hear this out and hopefully love it. It's very basic. It's very forgettable. And the thing is, Swifties love Jack Antonoff because a lot of them love the music she does with him. I think there was a time when they were decent together, but it's worn. It's tired. I want her to do something new. Now, I'm not even sure she's as good friends with Lena as she is with Jack because she works with him all the time. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it was a tough call in her mind. What I do find interesting, and this is a theory that I floated on the Reheat before, is that Jack's wife, the actress Margaret Qualley, is not a big fan of Taylor Swift's. I've just had this feeling here and there because sometimes you can see her sort of like having the essence of an eye roll whenever Taylor is nearby and not seeming to engage with her willingly. And for her to not come to the theoretical wedding of the year or century, I think says a lot. I'm just going to put that out there.
I think she's pregnant.
Oh!
I think she's pregnant, and Jack Antonoff is very private, but pathologically so. And I feel like he'd be like, they'll report it in the press. Like, it's not like they're that famous that it would matter. Like, I don't think the paparazzi are going to stalk Margaret Qualley. Like, I don't think they are, not in a big way.
Maybe that would be though, like stealing Taylor's thunder if they saw her pregnant.
Maybe it's like, because essentially they haven't announced it publicly. So that would be announcing the pregnancy. But I suspect that's why she didn't come. Either she's pregnant and she's showing, or she's pregnant and she just feels really terrible and is like, I don't want to show up and vomit. Because a stadium without windows, you don't know how stuffy it's going to be, what it's going to smell like, right? I mean, I'm sure they did their best, but it's still a stadium. And that would make me vomit if I were pregnant again. So
yeah, it doesn't sound like the most comfortable thing. I'm with you. That's a good theory.
Yeah, so that's my theory. Okay, so there were, of course, 2 notable absences that we will get to later. We're going to do a segment where we basically just talk about this, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Some other things we know. There were reports that guests were subject to searches and forced to sign NDAs. And apparently, Lena Dunham gave a hilarious speech that shocked some and delighted others. What did she say? She referred to football as, quote, straight guys reenacting gay porn. I think it's funny. On a truly disturbing note, one person who made the guest list, unlike Blake and Ryan, is Stephen J. Demetrio, the executive chair of a defense company which holds a contract with ICE to operate an ICE facility in Montana, where people are being held prisoner. Apparently, he's the father of Travis's friend, Reggie King. You know how many fathers of my friends were at my wedding? 0. So that's not an explanation for why the guy got an invitation. Not an explanation. No one expects to be invited to the wedding of their kid's friend. No one expects that. Sadaf, let's start with the obvious question. Are you shocked that they really did get married at MSG? This was not a trick. This was not a distraction. These 2 celebrities with more money than God sat down, did their wedding planning, and they said, babe, you know what I think would be romantic? Let's get married at MSG. And it's not because they were inviting 1,000 people. I searched this up over the weekend, okay? I looked it up. You can get married at the Waldorf Astoria with 1,000 people. You can get married at this beautiful old opera house. There are museums where you can get married. I'm pretty sure you can get married at the New York Public Library with over 1,000 people. There are so many places, if you want an indoor wedding, where you can have that many people. These 2 just thought that this is what screamed romance.
Yeah, I'm honestly still shocked. I'm shocked. I can't believe I didn't put it past her because I really thought even she wouldn't go this far. I thought it was a distraction. I thought this couldn't possibly be real, as I theorized last week, or as you guys were hearing a couple days ago. When Mamdani had that shout out about a celebrity booking MSG for their wedding, I had a feeling like he knew. And from that moment on, I was like, oh shit, I think it's really happening. And then when we started to see the rollout on the day of, I'm not a fan of hers, but I'm into celebrity culture, right? I'm sitting there glued to my couch. Sarah and I texting each other frantically, all my group chats exploding. Like, this was my weekend, okay? And largely because every detail was more shocking than the one before it. So first of all, the guest list is bonkers, right? It's so many people who I don't even think she's even spoken to before. But then on top of that, let's talk about the actual setting, right? Where I know this girl has fantasized about her wedding since she was a kid. We know this because we know it in her music, right? She's talked about it forever. She's the number one romantic. I think that's definitely true. And I get that. A lot of girls feel that way. But to me, that would have meant something like a beautiful setting in like an Italian or Irish castle or something, you know, like go fly off to Europe and book this massive estate. That's what I was assuming she would want to do. I know she likes the all-American brand. So I suppose that makes sense. I remember some people thought she'd get married at her Rhode Island property. So I don't know, all of those make sense to me. To do it at MSG is doing it for the fans and doing it for the public, right? Because it's not a romantic setting. And just today, just a couple of hours before we're recording, a couple of photos leaked, very blurry photos. And so you can kind of see what the setup looked like. So they set it up to look like it is a castle and it is a garden around the castle. It looks so tacky and shabby and cheap, dare I say. I don't know. I think it's going back to the word that Sarah and I kept using before, gauche, very gauche. And she walked down the aisle to her own song.
I know.
Love Story. Sarah, can you believe?
I know. It's so cringe. If you want to get married in a fake castle, here's what you do, Taylor. You have a relationship with Disney. Get married at the Magic Kingdom. They'll probably let you do it for free, to be honest. Right? I really think that she is filming this or filmed this wedding and it's going to be released as a doc on Disney Plus. So honestly, I think Disney would have been so down. And what's more American than the fake castle at Magic Kingdom? Nothing. So, and at least that's well constructed. It's not makeshift. Like that's, I would say if we're getting married at a fake castle, that's the one to get married at. Okay. If you have that option in life, that's what I would do. So I just don't get any of these choices.
That's such a good thought, too. By the way, like a friend of mine said that to me this morning, and I was aghast. That didn't even occur to me. Of course she would film it. Of course. That's so true. And MSG is built to be able to record something, right? That's the whole point. But again, it's like, why would you want this really particularly special, momentous occasion in your life that you, more than anyone else, waited for forever to be filmed and for everyone to consume? But I shouldn't be surprised by it, really. I mean, she's done that with pretty much everything else, I suppose, even her previous relationships to a degree, right? This is like her whole fantasy. She's marrying the jock. She even had like that lyric from Blank Space on the take home gifts for everybody, right? Where it said, so it's going to be forever. And I was like, girl, no, don't. Like, what are you doing? It's just too much. It's so narcissistic in my opinion. And I wonder if Travis even had any input on anything. Probably not. And, you know, you're the one who said this last week, I believe, Sarah, or maybe when we were talking back and forth, but Tom Holland and Zendaya, I think, had what was the romantic version of this, right? Like, God knows they could also afford whatever they want. We don't even know the details of their wedding because it's been completely kept secret. She just showed up on red carpets wearing a massive ring and they look happier than ever. And they are giving me such romance. They're oozing it. And I love that I don't know anything about it. Like, do I want to know what Zendaya wore? Hell yes, desperately. But I don't get to know. And I think that just tells us how valuable their love is, right? And with Taylor and Travis, you then start to wonder, okay, was this just another thing for you guys to monetize? Is it real? Is it authentic?
Yeah, absolutely. And like, okay, if I'm going to monetize my wedding, I feel like the person who monetized their wedding in a super classy way was Dua Lipa.
Yes.
That wedding was monetized very well. It was in Sicily, very tasteful. You know, you sell some pictures to Vogue. It's classy. And actually, I would have Vogue come photograph me. I would pay them to do that. I'd be like, hell yeah.
Yes, I'm wondering because we haven't seen the dress yet that Taylor wore. And I am terrified. I am sitting in horror till the moment I get to see this monstrosity. Because you know it will be. The girl has never been styled well. And I'm wondering, like, did they set up an exclusive with Vogue or whoever it might be to show that photo?
I suspect not. And the reason why I suspect not is Amanda Dobbins was talking on Jam Session about how Vogue seems to be publishing a lot of unauthorized information. And if they had a relationship with Taylor and a contract with Taylor to release the dress, I don't think they'd be doing things that might aggravate her. So I suspect not. I suspect we will see what the dress looks like when the documentary comes out on Disney Plus.
That's a good theory. And of
That's
course,
what's gonna happen.
Taylor would want to keep every dollar, right? Like she's even said that, really, not specifically about the wedding, but that she likes to keep her money close to her. And I hear that, I get that.
Yeah. So they're going to monetize this. I mean, here's the thing. If you're Dior, you don't want her to be in a horrible dress. So how horrible can it be, right?
That's theoretically true. And Jonathan Anderson designed it, and I think he's fantastic. So, all of the facts bode well, just history doesn't.
Well, apparently as a train, which, okay, Americans need to come to terms with whether or not they want a monarchy, because these people had the tax revolt of the 1700s, as the British call it. They had their tax revolt. They said no kings, but then they keep trying to turn everything into a royal wedding or a royal event. If you don't have a monarchy, you don't have royals. So you don't need a train at your wedding. Like, you are not a princess, right? We don't need a fake castle. This is what just astounds me about American culture, the thing that baffles me. And I hate saying like as a Canadian and being all smug, but I am very confused by their relationship to the concept of royalty, this thing they supposedly rejected and like died on battlefields so that they wouldn't have to have. And now they're all into royal aesthetic.
That's a delicious point. Like, I have to say, and I'm not the girl who dreamt about her wedding, but I get it. I do love a train personally. I even love a tiara, but you're so spot on that it is such a royal fantasy. And so much of the West likes to deny that that is anything to do with present time, right? And yet, God, yeah, you're so right. Particularly this wedding is, I think, the epitome of what those fantasies are. Oh my God, that's a good point. I mean, God knows Taylor sees herself as a princess, right? And her fans certainly think she is, for America anyway.
But it's just, I don't know, it hits different when it's a royal wedding because it actually is a princess. And as antiquated as that tradition is, as abhorrent as the idea of hereditary monarchy is, it just works when you see a royal wedding in terms of the pageantry, right? That works in a way that no celebrity wedding will ever achieve, right? When Kate Middleton walked down the aisle of a cathedral and then walked back down a princess, you're like, wow, as much as I don't like monarchy, that is magical to watch.
Yeah, even though in present time being a princess means fuck all, but like I had the same reaction, Sarah. Like I hate the royals, and yet I watched the wedding, and when she came back down, and same with Meghan Markle, I was like, oh my God, they look beautiful. There is still that element of glamour, and again, this is why we even do a show like this, right? Because there's something to be said about the way we consume all of this content. Royals are celebrities, whether you like that or not. There's a reason why we're fascinated by all. And maybe no one is more fascinated than Taylor Swift herself. Now, I want to curve and pivot a little bit here, Sarah, because one of the biggest gobsmacking details of this wedding was the officiant. Now, whether you are religious or not, would we not consider it sacrilegious to have the star of Billy Madison usher you and your beloved into the sanctity of marriage? Sarah, where is the dignity in this? Were they thinking wedding singer? What was happening?
Okay, I do love The Wedding Singer. That is a great movie.
I do too. I
don't know if they just are fans of that movie, but let's just say Adam Sandler has fallen a long way since that time. Like, there was a time when I actually was like, he's kind of interesting. He's doing Punch Drunk Love. He's done The Wedding Singer, which is a genuinely great romantic comedy, right? There was a time when he was becoming a more dignified performer, but that's not his legacy because he just leaned into making money and making crappy movies, right? Crappy movies he could film in Italy. That was his beat, right? So no, there's no dignity. Why would you do this? Like, whose idea was this? I'm assuming this is the one thing Travis wanted, and this is the one thing he got because he was in Happy Gilmore too. But why would you want that?
Well, apparently Travis had a cameo in Happy Gilmore 2, so we know that. And if you don't know, Happy Gilmore is Adam Sandler's movies. The first one is great. I didn't watch the second one, but he has that moment in there. So I don't know if they struck up a friendship. This seems like the most Travis Kelce engineered choice here, right? Very football mask choice. They probably just thought it was really funny. And allegedly, we can't confirm this detail for certain, but Adam Sandler did sing a song, allegedly original song, which I guess does pull from the Wedding Singer playbook, which I think is cute. But again, like none of it's adding up. It just feels like so much tackiness, one thing after the other. And when you throw all of that at the wall, the end result is not going to be great. I mean, it's just confusing. It's not cohesive.
They were married by the star of That's My Boy.
There was an era, as you point out, there was an era of good Adam Sandler. And I mean, hey, Uncut Gems was not that long ago. We'll come back to it. He's just not what I would expect, you know? But then if you think about the fact that it is set at MSG, maybe it does make sense. Sorry, Adam Sandler. What did he wear? There's no way he was dressed reasonably.
So apparently Adam has met Taylor. He says she's nice to his kids. Okay. So I get why you would do this, because obviously your kids are going to dine out on this forever. I mean,
and he's
what's
got
cooler
girls,
than having a dad? Yeah, he's a girl dad. And this is like the ultimate girl dad experience, right? Marrying Taylor Swift. Like, I get it. I get why he wants to do that. But he also doesn't know any of her friends. Like, I'm convinced they invited Chris Rock as like his emotional support person. Like, you can have one friend here. Like, you don't know the rest of these people.
I mean, I also wondered if maybe they'd paid him, but I feel like maybe he wouldn't accept cash. But it's just such an odd combo. It had to be that Travis struck up some kind of friendship with him on the set of the movie, because otherwise I don't really understand how this adds up. Adam is already someone who I feel like you have to drag him by his ass to a red carpet or to do press for his own work, which he is contractually obligated to do. So how did they get him at this wedding? It just had to be, I think you're right, that he's got girls and they would love to be able to go to school and say, my dad married Taylor Swift. Like, I get that, but like, wild.
Yeah, it's such a strange choice. Like, of all the people who could marry you. I mean, I feel like Maya Hawke, who she got married at a cathedral. You don't have to get married in a religious institution, but she had like a real officiant, right? Like, say what we will about organized religion. Those people, like, they're actual officiants. I just feel like you can find a judge to marry you. It doesn't have to be a priest. It doesn't have to be religious, but it shouldn't be Adam Sandler. I'm just going to say.
I mean, can I say, though, I do love the idea. I've had friends do this where, like, you have a friend or a family member, whoever, get officiated and marry you. And I think that can be a really sweet touch. But again, that just shouts out the fact that Adam Sandler is not close to these people. I can't imagine. I would make more sense if she had like Jack Antonoff officiate the wedding, right? Or Lena. Lena could have been a fun choice.
What about Sonia Sotomayor?
Okay, yeah.
That's what I would have done.
But that's a political choice. And I think Taylor's been really careful to keep her politics out of it, minus the ICE individual, right?
I know.
Should we turn to talking guest list? Because we gotta jump into that. Because to me, that is quite a reveal. A friend told me that this morning, and I actually didn't even believe her, which is wild, because at this point I shouldn't be surprised anymore. But I think what's interesting about Taylor is, we've said this so many times on the show, she's so careful to present herself as politically neutral as possible. You know, she's very careful whenever it comes to election time to say who she supports, if she does at all. We saw a little bit of that for Hillary way back in the day, but I think she's also doing it to an extent where her fans can project whatever they want onto her. They can decide she's MAGA if that's what they are. They can decide she's Democratic if that's what they are. She leaves enough space for that. I think that's problematic in itself, especially when you have as big of a platform as she does. This, however, and the wedding itself feels very MAGA, right? And then to have an ICE individual, I don't even have the words for that. I'm speechless.
I thought she was doing better when she wholeheartedly endorsed Kamala Harris with that like cheeky endorsement. With that cheeky endorsement where she called herself a childless cat lady. And I actually really liked that. That seemed anti-MAGA. I thought that was great. And now, I don't know, now she's just retreating back into this apolitical space, which is almost worse.
I think it's worse.
Is it worse than being MAGA? Yeah, it is, because you're just, you know it's bad, but you're going along to get along because you don't care. You have so much money and so much status that it doesn't impact you what the laws are.
It's her bottom line, right? Like, it adds to her pockets.
Exactly.
But you know, I like that you point that out, because I also liked that moment when she said the childless cat lady bit, but now she's not the childless cat lady anymore, right? Like, yes, she doesn't have children yet. Yes, she still has cats. But as far as the symbolism goes, it means that I don't fall into that political space anymore. I'm going along with that sort of conservative white picket fence fantasy. Again, the royal fantasy. She's probably going to be pregnant in a year or so. I think that's interesting because then that does sort of push her into that other side of the aisle, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't have to change her politics. But I feel like she's acting like it has, right? I mean, when you get married, that doesn't mean you have to suddenly be anti-choice and pro-ICE, right? But she's invited somebody who is detaining people at an ICE detention center.
Yeah, and I think also worth pointing out that she and Travis are really close friends with the Mahomes, and they are right-leaning and not ashamed of it. And I'm not saying you can't be friends when your politics are mixed, but I will say I couldn't. And I think where America is right now, it's a tough order. I just think for someone who's so careful not to be super explicit about the way they go, this just says a lot to me. And I think having an ICE member is, I don't know, gobsmacking. To me, that's worse than even having your wedding at MSG, and I would want to know before I go there that you have a member of ICE just sitting in the audience.
I was horrified enough when there was going to be a Kushner there. Like, that is bad enough. And then that wasn't even the lowest point of the wedding. It's pretty disturbing. And now it's time for a short break. When we return, we promise we will discuss Blake Lively's absence from the closest thing America will ever have to a royal wedding.
Hi, Donovan Woods here.
Hey, it's me, Tom Power.
We're here to tell you about our brand new podcast. It's called The Big Five.
So, Donovan, what is The Big Five?
Yeah, exactly. What is The Big Five? That's what The Big Five is all about. Every week, Tom and I will sit down with a special guest and dive into new topics, debating things like, what are the Big Five farm animals? The Big Five types of hat? The Big Five guys named Paul?
Martin, Revere, Mezcal, McCartney, John Paul II.
The debate is settled by a listener from somewhere across the country. It's like a game show.
It is a game show.
The Big Five, available now wherever you get your podcasts.
Okay, we are back. And now for the question we have been dying to tackle. Sir and I have been exchanging theories all weekend. As you know, we have never been stands for Blake Lively, but we're genuinely hurt on her behalf. And reminder, we're Team Lively in the Lively versus Baldoni era. Okay, we do not support that man.
No.
Now, Taylor is the godmother to all four of Blake's children. God, that is really bittersweet to remember now. And yet, she and Ryan were left off the guest list. Apparently, it's very likely they chose not to come, but I don't think so. It looks like the rift in their friendship began when Taylor was dragged into the sexual harassment accusations Blake made against Baldoni, who, reminder, was her co-star in It Ends With Us. And while it always sucks to have your personal texts to a friend revealed an illegal discovery, abandoning a friend because they experienced on-set harassment is a choice. All of this happened. If you guys don't know, we will link in the show notes for previous coverage of the case. If you believe that the court throwing out 10 out of 13 claims Blake made means she was lying, please listen to an interview with her lawyer, which we will also add to the show notes. A lot of the issue was that Blake was an independent contractor and not an employee, so the law didn't protect her to the same extent. So it's not all the things the rumors have been flying out about, just to be clear here. And by the way, Baldoni did do some terrible shit, and he did sexually harass her, and all the details are in the court documents, which we will also link to. I'm so tired of people saying anything else. Now, the truth has not stopped people, of course, on social media from claiming that Blake was a bad friend, a liar, and did not deserve a wedding invite. Weirdly, some are comparing her to Regina George. However, for me and Sarah, she will always be Serena van der Woodsen, for better or worse. Sarah, can you share how you're feeling during this difficult time for us, please?
There are no words.
Yeah. Yeah.
People say that, and there usually are words because there are words about injustices. There are words about structural inequality. Here, it's just someone did something inexplicable. There's no reason why she did this, right? That's just, if you're the godmother to 4 children, first of all, those girls should have been flower girls.
Yes,
with
I was thinking
Travis's
they would
nieces.
be. Yes.
They should have been invited because she had a relationship with those children. Secondly, I mean, what did Blake do? The only thing she did was compare Taylor to a dragon. Okay, not the best text, but like that's not a reason to end a friendship.
Good
Yeah, a really powerful dragon, an important dragon from Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Right? And she compared her husband to a dragon too.
Exactly.
So I don't think it was meant to be unflattering.
Was it corny? Yes, but it was out of love.
Exactly. I don't know what happened. I think it's that, this is my unflattering theory, Taylor has main character syndrome and didn't like being a supporting character in Blake's saga. This is my theory. What do you think?
I think you're totally right. I think you're absolutely right, because it also felt like maybe she could have been more helpful during that whole situation and wasn't. I also do believe that there was a song on her recent awful album, I'm sorry to say, that was alluding to her friendship with Blake. And in the song, I thought it sounded like she was supportive of Blake. And she was sort of shitting on their quote unquote haters. But I know some people feel differently. A lot of you know her better than I do when it comes to those Easter eggs in the lyrics, but I stand by that. So I've also just wondered, did something transpire after all this that we don't know about? Like, it's confusing, And Blake and Ryan had that little paparazzi moment where he was carrying her on his back, like literally a couple weeks ago, which seems like it might have been in anticipation of this wedding. Now, there were some really not great photos that came out over the weekend of Blake at Lake Placid, hanging out with her family. It's just always presented very bleakly in the press. And I'm sad for that, because I also just hate that. I mean, we're contributing to it, but that this has become such a thing that's on Blake's back, because Taylor's going to be fine regardless. I do think it's impacted Blake's reputation quite a lot, right? And that's unfortunate. And yeah, if your friend is ditching you at a time when you are going through the worst thing possibly that's happened to you, we're talking sexual harassment, a really public court trial, this man terrorizing her, he definitely orchestrated a smear campaign online against her that's still going, in my opinion. If you're dumping your friend during a time like this, that's really horrible. I think that says really not so great things about Taylor. I was surprised to see Carly there. Again, we don't know what happened in their friendship. The rumor was there was a falling out, because at one point they were together all the time, then they weren't. I don't know what this says about Taylor as a friend. Is she wishy-washy? Maybe. I also can't help but think she chose guests based on what the press and the public would think. And by not inviting Blake and Ryan, she knew she would get press for that. I also think that's strange. And I think you're so right. She's got main character syndrome. And maybe she didn't want there to be any press about them being I don't know. I'm actually stumped on this one, Sarah.
I'm some too. So I had like a 4-hour conversation with one of my friends while her daughters played about this snub on Saturday. And my friend believes that Blake didn't want to go. That Blake thought, my outfit will be scrutinized. Everything about my appearance will be scrutinized. I don't want to be there. Or that maybe Blake has found a good therapist who's explained to her that what Taylor did in their friendship wasn't very good friend behavior, and Blake has moved on. Maybe she's friends with the other hedge fund wives of Westchester now. Maybe those are her people. I don't know. The other thing that occurred to me was this could be political, because Ryan, Blake's husband, whether you think his views are progressive or not, they are way to the left of the people that Travis Kelce hangs out with, right? So Ryan Reynolds is friends with Justin Trudeau, for example, right? And so I don't know if maybe the last time everyone was together, he made a comment about the Mahomes or MAGA people or something, and they just didn't want him there. Like maybe they thought he'd make a scene. I don't think he'd make a scene, but maybe they thought he would make them uncomfortable. Because Ryan also, in addition to being to the left of MAGA people, which we all should be to the left of MAGA people, but he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. So I could see him trying to re-educate people. And so I don't know, maybe he had a tendency to do that. So maybe it's about him. Maybe lots of men have ruined their wives' friendships. I don't know. What do you think?
I actually think that's true. This adds up, or it adds along to a theory that I was telling you about earlier that I've seen floating around online, which is that the issues between the boys, so that Travis and Ryan don't like each other. Some fans have said that they noticed that Travis had unfollowed Ryan on Instagram. Say what you will about social media wars, but that stuff does mean something. Yeah, so the belief is that he's not a fan of the couple, maybe particularly Ryan. That's what led to the rift. And that could also be what I was thinking earlier, that maybe something happened between the Baldoni trial and this wedding. Like maybe this is all about something else, and it doesn't even have to do with the girls. whatever the case, it's messy. And I have to say, I think Blake is maybe better off. She may not see it that way now, and I'm sure it's devastating. They're close friends. And again, Taylor is the godmother to her children, which is so bittersweet, man. Like, that's brutal because that means they were really tight. Yeah. So my theory is, listen, if Blake plays her cards right, maybe just sits out for a couple of years, as we've said before, cut down on the exposure a little bit, starts working on some indie movies, finds her way back to the spotlight in a new way, maybe a narrower path. Maybe it's just sticking to one or two genres that suit her. I think comedy, but let's see. I liked her in Simple Favor. I know that might just be me. Yes.
I love that movie. I love that movie. And the sequel I enjoyed too. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. And she's so good at it. So I just think she needs to kind of walk away from a lot of this drama. I don't know that being adjacent to Taylor is such a good thing for someone's personal reputation. You know, I don't really see how it adds up. And if we look at someone like Zoe Kravitz, we talked about this in a previous episode, she's dating one of Taylor's really tough exes from what Taylor has said in her music. So to me, that says that Zoe and Taylor are probably not as tight as they showed the media, right? And I think that says a lot too. I don't know that Taylor actually has real friends in these celebrity women.
I agree. I think she doesn't. I think maybe Abigail is her only friend.
Yes.
And she sold her out in her music.
I
mean, talking about Abigail losing her virginity. Like, I mean, I'm assuming Abigail gave her blessing. I'm hoping she paid Abigail for that reference.
Whatever the case, Abigail clearly doesn't mind. She looked great at the wedding.
She did, actually. I really liked her. She wore a great dress. Loved
that
Abigail.
Hair.
Her hair looked stunning. She looked fabulous. Abigail, good for you. I'm pro Abigail. This is a pro Abigail podcast. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. So I think that Blake's agent is going to say, let's take a year off. And then please. I'm going to get on the phone to the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants ladies and to Leighton Meester. And we're going to do a Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants 3. And we're going to do a Gossip Girl reboot where you're the antagonist. And we're going to give the people what they want. The girls are going to love it. And then you get to be a girl's girl. Like, this is the thing. I think that Blake Lively, I get the impression she is a girl's girl who looks like a guy's girl. And I don't think it's her fault.
Oh, Sarah, that's delicious.
I don't think it's her fault. She has the aesthetic that the guy's girl typically has.
Well, as you said, Hedge Fund Wives of Winchester, which, by the way, is a reality show I would watch. But yeah, she has that aesthetic. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think she actually did care about her friendship with Taylor Swift. I think she actually probably is a girl's girl. I think it made her sad. I mean, if you look at the women she admires, she really admires Martha Stewart, right? And I actually respect the fact that that's one of her heroes, right? That she admires Martha Stewart. So as much as I don't think I would be friends with Blake Lively, I don't think she's a bad person. She and Ryan let Stanley Tucci stay with them while he was getting cancer treatment, which I think shows they're not bad humans, right? Like, they have a lot of human decency, even if Ryan sometimes needs to shut the F up because he is not always the smartest person in the room, right?
Well, I think they both can be a bit annoying, right?
Yeah.
They can both be very cheesy.
They can, absolutely. And they both think they're smarter than they are. I remember when I was reading the oral history of Gossip Girl, it was hilarious because Blake's like, I almost didn't do the show because I wanted to go to college. And they told me, well, in season 2, things will calm down and you'll be able to go to Columbia. And I'm like, Blake, you were never going to go to Columbia.
That's hilarious. But you know what? She was a star at that point. Who knows? I thought
maybe they would have accepted her.
Your character will go to college.
Yeah. Her character did go to Columbia at one point. So Blake got to hang out there. She did go to Columbia. They kept their promise.
Yes,
they kept their promise. Josh Schwartz is not a liar.
Sarah, I love this because I think this is actually what's happening in reality. I think that those two are, honestly, for a long time, I felt like, and I think we even said this in a Ryan Reynolds episode, which we'll also happily link to, that he was also going through an overexposure period. And then he has actually stepped away a bit the last couple of years, I would say. Maybe last year. So if you live in Canada, it doesn't feel like it. His giant face is all over every Tim Hortons right now. But like, there's levels to exposure, right? And I think these two have been all over. And maybe this also adds to Taylor having that main character syndrome. I don't know. I was always surprised she was close friends with them for that reason, but I think she likes adjacent publicity and she knew how popular and beloved they are. It never hurts when you have kind of like a sort of bipolar. What am I trying to say? It never hurts whenever the press sees you in two different ways, right? You could be evil, you could be great. That's kind of what Taylor has. And I think being friends with such a squeaky clean couple helped her for a while. So I think even in the way we were saying, maybe she's choosing a more MAGA aligned path. This could be a symptom of that too, you know? Like, as you said, Blake and Ryan's politics are way in the left. And they also put that image on her. You can project their image onto her. Now you can't
exactly.
Really. Yeah.
I think when she was trying to both sides it, the friendship benefited her.
Yes, exactly.
And it's interesting because, honestly, given that Ryan is friends with Justin Trudeau, we can just swap in Katy Perry and that can be Blake's new best friend.
Honestly, I love that. I would pay to see that. And by the way, I'm so glad you shouted out the sisterhood because those are authentic friends. I know that. I believe that. Those women have been friends for years. So that cast, including Alexis Bledel, America Ferrera, Amber Tamblyn, like those 4 women have been such good friends for years. And I think you're spot on. I do think Blake is a girl's girl. I think she loves her women. She'll stay by you forever. I want her to go back to them because I bet you that they side-eyed the Taylor friendship a little. I'd be surprised if they didn't.
I think probably everyone did. And listen, it made her less cool. Like when she was younger, she was really trying to be cool. And like, I don't think she was uncool. Like apparently she was she hosted SNL when she was super young. She was doing some really great endorsements for fashion houses. She was somebody who had a cool factor, and now she's not cool at all because, she's so mainstream. So maybe this will give her a little bit of edge, right? I mean, she was in The Town playing a pretty edgy character. So
was she bad at it? Yes, but
she's terrible. She's terrible, but she was present. She was present. And also, I mean, she kills it in A Simple Favor. Like, do I think that another actress could do an even better job? Sure. But she can make that work. She can play a mean girl, which is why I think when they reboot Gossip Girl, because this is inevitable at this point, as Blair, she will be the antagonist and she can basically just play Serena turned into the woman from A Simple Favor, right? She's good at that. She's good at that.
Agree more. She's very good at playing bad. Very, very good. I hope she does it again. Now, before we wrap up, Sarah, I want to ask one big question that'll really kind of conclude our thoughts here, I think. How do we think this entire wedding alters the way the world views Taylor, if at all? Because it's a monumental display of wealth, right? The goal was spectacle. I don't think it was romance. And it feels so tone deaf because here's the other thing. When you do a massive wedding with all of Hollywood at MSG, you got to block off the streets. And they're key streets and intersections in the middle of New York City. So people were really upset about that. Sarah mentioned earlier, they did have their guests sign NDAs, which is wild. A friend mentioned to me earlier that with the NDAs, she'd read that it wasn't so much that you will have to pay a fine if you violate the NDA. It's that you get money if you don't violate the NDA, which again is unconfirmed, but that's a rumor that's been floating around and it does feel very Taylor. They even had a raffle, which is fascinating to me because if your guests are all millionaires, but anyway, there was like raffle prizes including a sports car, other like big ticket items, which is weird to have at a wedding. And then my favorite, really galling fact about all of this is the week before their wedding. And this is how I figured out that they were definitely getting married on 4th of July weekend. They donated $26 million to 20 different national charities in the week before their wedding in both their names, Travis and Taylor. And I think that's so fucking fascinating because it's like they were softening their image before they were going to drop this massive bomb on New York City. And yeah, of course it's a nice thing to do, but why are you doing it the week before your wedding? Why isn't this something you regularly do? She's reached this millionaire, billionaire status where I think she's officially living in her own bubble and cannot see outside it. But I want to know what your thought is, Sarah. What does it say about maybe her own view of her own persona and power?
So as a nonprofit executive, I do applaud anytime people give. I mean, would I love for her to give more? Yes. Are there many male billionaires with lots more money who are worse offenders because they give a far smaller percentage of their income? Absolutely. And I just want to acknowledge that I felt like a lot of people online were talking about this in a way that was I don't know, there were some misogynistic dog whistles because it was like they had just discovered that billionaires hoard their wealth and don't give enough away with Taylor. And I'm like, guys, where is your rage for Elon and Bezos and Zuckerberg and all of those people who also don't give enough away and have far more money and whose businesses are truly ruining the world in many ways. So I did think a lot of it was misogynistic. Also, there were weird posts where people were critiquing the charities she gave to. Giving to charities always intensely personal. And do I think a PR executive sat down with them to say, these are the charities with maximum appeal. They have universal appeal. They're not polarizing. Yes, I think it was calibrated not to offend anyone. Nothing edgy was supported. But were they all decent causes run by good people who are probably underpaid and don't need you to tell them that their cause is unimportant? Yes, right? Like, it was such a slap in the face of all of the people who work for those nonprofits for far less than you realize, and who also use the services of those nonprofits, right? When people were saying that it didn't matter, that these were bad charities. Well, I mean, food banks are important, and everyone could be in that position one day where you need one. Making sports accessible to kids who can't afford them. That's also actually really important. And that's work that makes life meaningful for people. I mean, that's work that helps kids experience the joy of childhood, helps them make friends, experience being on a team, get some exercise in the summer or in the winter, depending on the sport. So I had no problem with the list of nonprofits. She also gave to animal shelters. These were all causes that I think meant something to them and also were designed not to offend anyone, because it's not like she was giving to Planned Parenthood, right? But still, that discourse got out of control. At the same time, you're right. The week before your wedding, are you trying to whitewash this? And are you trying to say, you can't get mad at me about my conspicuous consumption because I gave $26 million to charity? Those things are not related. You can still get mad at someone who gives $26 million to charity. You absolutely can. While I want rich people to give and I want them to give more, that doesn't mean the other things you do are beyond reproach.
It doesn't exempt you. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, you're right. And fortunately, I've got rage for all these nasty rich people. And you're right. I mean, I'm so glad that they did make donations, and they're hefty donations. But for me, I can't help but side eye at least a little when the timing is so conspicuous and it's right before your wedding. It makes me think the sole intention was just your own reputation, right? And that's unfortunate, because this is something they could both be doing at any time of the year. That's what I'd like to see from them going forward, hopefully. And also just the fact that even with her choices and donations in charities, we're so politically neutral, again, like you were saying, is endlessly fascinating. It's like everything just feels like such a careful calculation that I'm bored by it. You know, how cool would it have been if maybe even like 6 months ago, or when they started dating, or like a year ago, they made all of these donations? That would have been really awesome. Like, it wouldn't feel like there was an ulterior motive. So I don't know. I think all in all, I feel like this in itself just shows me that there is some awareness that she's gone beyond this insane level of normalcy, right? I mean, if they felt they had to cover their asses by putting these donations out there, they kind of knew that they were going to get some blowback. So I think there is some awareness, but I think to a huge degree it's gone. I think when you reach a certain level of wealth, you just no longer think like a regular person does. And I'm not saying that as a joke. I think that's legitimately how it goes, right?
I think that that's very true. And like, even like the little nuances about the wedding, like, the people who did the catering were Zero Bond. That's a private members club, right? Like, getting a private members club to cater your wedding shows you have gotten to that level where you are not at all relatable, right? Like,
yes, exactly.
Most of us couldn't eat out if we wanted to.
The NDAs alone, right? Imagine if I went to your wedding and even signed an NDA. I mean, in a way, I would kind of love it, actually. But like, if anybody did that, like, you'd have to think it was a prank, right? But of course, we're talking about celebrities. But I think part of it too is that when you bring people to your wedding, it's supposed to be this collective moment of joy. We're celebrating you and we're celebrating love. If you're putting an NDA on it so nobody can even post a picture online or send it to their friends or whatever, I don't know, it defeats the whole purpose. I just feel like this wedding was not about marriage or love or any of that. I think it was just a cash opportunity. It was a branding opportunity, a cash opportunity, and just about fame. And I feel like she is gone. We've lost her. There's no coming back.
Yeah, I think so too. And even just the fact that like Lena Dunham's speech was like controversial with some of the guests shows that some of the company that Taylor is keeping, A, is humorless, and B, like, to me, like, being shocked by her saying like something like that, that's so misogynistic, because that is actually just a slightly wittier version of the type of joke Adam Sandler makes.
Oh, good point. Yeah. Also, you know what you're getting when you have Lena do a speech. And I thought it was really funny. I think she could have gone worse.
Absolutely. You have to be able to laugh at yourself. And this is that moment. The fact that that was at all controversial with the crowd makes me sort of wonder, why were some of these people here? Like, I understand they work with Travis. You don't have to invite all of your work friends to your wedding. No one does.
No.
You don't have to.
I think she made a joke. I think it was on Graham Norton. I can't remember, that her dream was to like invite anyone she's ever exchanged a word with, or like all her dream favorite people. And again, that's a fantasy. When you make it real, it doesn't always live up to what the dream was. Like, I can't imagine she got to talk to all of these people. It was so many. And like, I don't know what Ethan Hawke was doing there. His philosophies don't seem like they add up with Taylor's.
No, what was he doing there? I don't get it. Well, I mean, even like Tom Hanks.
Oh, Thomas, my
Why
man.
was he there? I don't get it. So, I mean, I guess he is the voice of someone in Toy Story, but I don't think they had to meet while filming.
Not just someone, Sarah. Woody, the Woody.
Yes, I know. Woody. I know. He's an icon. I'll put some respect on his name.
Thank you.
But I was trying to explain to my daughter why I was upset. This is my last thing I'm going to say.
And by the way, just to note, Sarah's daughter is a Swiftie.
My daughter is a Swiftie. I love her unconditionally, no matter what. So she's a Swiftie. And I wasn't really sure how to handle the fact that Blake Lively was not invited. And I was trying to explain this to my daughter, because I feel this is a deal breaker. And so I tried to explain to my daughter, I was like, Taylor Swift is kind of mean. And my daughter's like, what? So she already has been told that Chapel Roan is kind of mean to her fans. So this was a devastating blow, right? And I explained, I was like, how to explain sexual harassment to a 6-year-old. And so I was like, okay, imagine this happened. A boy at school pushed you on the playground. And then because of that, another one of your friends, a girlfriend at school, didn't invite you to her birthday party. Would that be fair? And then my daughter was like, no. And then she was like, I get it now. That is mean.
Oh my God, that's such a devastating and beautiful comparison, Sarah.
So she's still a Swiftie, because she's actually going to like play Taylor Swift in a summer camp play, and she'd already been cast. So she's still a Swiftie.
Little starlet. She's too young, you know, like it may be 5-10 years, give her time. She'll see the light.
She's still a Swiftie. We'll see if Taylor ever atones for this mistake, but I feel like it's too far gone. Like, if you're Blake, do you take that call at this point?
I think, unfortunately, Blake might. Again, like, I really hope her team, her man, tell her, no, it's a bad idea. The sisterhood tells her she doesn't need this. And as for Taylor, I don't think she can come back from this. I think that's why I originally thought there was no way she would do this. And it was just a distraction, because I was just like, you're going to lose like a lot of the world when you do this. Like, it's so, I don't know. It's still incomprehensible to me. And we just dissected it for an hour. Like, I know. And I'm not looking forward to when she starts defending herself in the press in just a week's time, I'm sure.
I'm sure she will. And she won't explicitly talk about Blake here, but she'll write a song about this, I'm pretty sure, like about her wedding guest list and leaving Blake off of it. But for some reason, inviting Alison Roman.
Alison Roman was there?
Yeah. And like, listen, I mean, I'm not saying that she's like, you can't invite her to a wedding ever. I mean, I know she was sort of lightly canceled a while ago, but it seems like she has, gone away and learned her lesson. But I don't think Taylor knows Alison Roman. Maybe she used one of her recipes once, but I don't think they know each other.
I'm gobsmacked. Maybe they hang out in the Hamptons. Alison, though, also known for being an infamous mean white girl in the same vein that Taylor is. So, maybe that makes more sense.
Maybe they get along. I don't know. I mean, she is friends now with some people that I follow, some journalists I follow and respect. So I'm wondering if she has learned her lesson.
Allison has?
Yeah, Allison.
Yeah, she does have some respectable friends. So I don't write her off in the way I might write off Taylor. But yeah, Taylor, I'm sorry, girl, you're not going to win us back. I know you're not keen on winning me and Sarah, but like, I don't know. I just cannot imagine where this goes next. But as always, the Reheat will keep you posted. That is this week's episode. That wraps us up. Thank you for joining us for this very important emergency we had to dissect. Thank you to all of our amazing listeners. You can listen to the Reheat for free on the Seeker app. You can also find the show on the Frequency Podcast Network or wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to hear more from me, you can find me at Canada Horror on Instagram. Sarah, where can our listeners find you?
Listeners can find me on Instagram at Sahagian Sarah. And you can also find me on Threads at Sahagian Sarah as well. If you liked this podcast, please rate, review, and subscribe. All of those actions are free things you can do to help other listeners find us. We would love that. If you would like us to keep growing, another way you can support us, if you feel able, is to support us on Patreon at patreon.com/thereheat. It's a wonderful way to make the show a bit easier for us to produce and so that we can put more time into it. As always, thanks for listening.